Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today on this thought of the fractal nature of the universe. So, have you ever thought about what is the universe? What are you? Well, in actuality, it appears that you are actually the universe experiencing itself in a fractal way. This means that you are basically a portion, a piece, and yet the entirety of what the universe is yourself. And you are experiencing yourself. Let's just touch really quick on what is a fractal. A fractal is basically something that contains the essence and the wholeness of the whole, but in a portion. So we can see a fractal is a rough or fragmented geometric shape that could be split into parts, each of which is at least approximately a reduced size copy of the whole. So they're self-similar to each other. A fractal contains all the information of the whole, but in a smaller way. So how this relates to consciousness is that you are basically the universe experiencing itself. We have been brought up with the idea of a big bang in which the universe kind of exploded and sent all matter into existence from nothingness. We now know that there is no matter without an observer. The observation, the thought, comes before the matter. We were, in the Western society, brought up thinking that the universe is one giant mechanical clock, that everything really is physical, that our consciousness is a byproduct of the physical, nothing but electrical and chemical stimuli and interactions going on that bring about consciousness, when actually the exact opposite is the truth. Consciousness comes first. We know that from quantum physics. So with no observer, with nobody actually looking at something, there truly is nothing. Just randomness. We know that from the famous double slit experiment. So understanding that the universe is fractal in nature and that you are in fact yourself a fractal, it lends us to understand a little bit more about us. There is an old occult axiom or saying, as above, so below. And this could also be basically changed to say, as without, so within. So you are basically, if you want to take a more religious point of view, you could say that you are God experiencing yourself in your creation. This changes our whole mindset, our whole worldview. It touches us and links us to the divine creator, to that unlimited power source. And it changes us from being basically in what could be a victim mindset that comes out of the chaos theory of, well, every shit sort of just happens. Everything is random. Nothing is planned. And, what can I possibly do? I'm so limited. I have no ability to affect any sort of real change. Well, if you are in effect a fractal, a portion, basically a complete, minute piece of God, of the Creator, experiencing what you created, then you have power at your hands and your fingertips. You can create your own reality, and that is basically what you are doing. There is the thought that the entire universe at some point will collapse within itself and then start all over again in another big bang. Well, if we look at Kashmiri Shaivism, which is a very deep philosophical system that basically recognized the quantum universe thousands of years ago, then we know that this is really not the case. We are able to affect change. We are able to create our own reality every single day. And that, in effect, from day to day, moment to moment, second to second, nanosecond to nanosecond, the entire universe is actually collapsing on itself and starting all over every single second and moment. We are starting to realize that we truly do live in a holographic universe. This reality, this 3D reality, is not really so real. It is probably the projection of something quite different. So the only thing that truly is real is consciousness and thought. And if that's the case, how powerful thoughts are. And if reality is constantly fresh and constantly renewing itself every second, and you could liken this to the way movies have been made, where movies in the old days with the projectors, it's just single frames, single photos that are flipped together and exposed quickly to give you the illusion of movement. And that's how the motion pictures came about. Reality is like that. It's almost like a still photograph, one after another, after another, after another. And we could at any time change that photograph. At any moment, we could change the outcome. We could change anything. That's how powerful we are and how powerful our consensus reality is. We also know now that there is a likelihood that there's all these different dimensions piled up on top of each other. And there's probably other beings and other dimensions that are actually walking through what appears to be your physical body at this moment. And they don't recognize and sense you, and you don't recognize and sense them unless you expand your perception, or unless they expand theirs. So things are not so cut and dry. But what it does is this really empowers us. We have tremendous power available to us. We have been brought up to think of ourselves as being powerless, but this is not the case. The human is really a representation of God. It even says that in a lot of our holy books. If we look at the brain under a microscope and we look at the universe, we can see such a magnificent view of the microcosm and the macrocosm just right there. It's so obvious. It's just so incredibly obvious, and it's been hidden in all of our wisdom traditions. Actually, in many of the traditions, it was just right out there in the open, and then in other ones, it's been hidden. But it reflects the fact that we are a portion of God having an earthly, physical existence. Matter is nothing but energy vibrating at a certain wavelength and frequency. Everything is energy vibrating at different wavelengths and different frequencies. And this energy is ultimately consciousness. And ultimately, all there is consciousness. And that's pretty an awesome thought to take in and think of. We can rewrite our DNA at any time. We basically can reprogram ourselves at any time. There is so much power in the spoken word. If you haven't done it before, you should do this. Write down what you want, put it down into words, create a mantra or an affirmation from it, and just say it every day. And you will send that signal into the neurons in your brain, and your body will respond by rewriting your DNA to conform to it. And the stronger you know you can do this, the more you know and believe that this is reality, the greater and quicker the change you can manifest. You are only limited by your own disbelief and your own belief in your limitations. Nothing else is limited. In all the traditions around the world, it talks about people living to magnificent ages in the past, 900 years or even more. The ends of our DNA, the telomeres, are really what cause aging. As they wear away, that is what causes the physical body to age. But that doesn't even have to be the case. Again, use affirmations, know what you can do, refuse to let in negative thoughts and limiting beliefs, and the sky is truly the limit. What we could become is anything we choose to be, for ultimately, we are consciousness. We are light itself. There is really no limit to this. We are in a portion of the universe right now that is highly charged and energetic, and it's bombarding us with this transformative energy that's going to allow us, and is actually right now enabling us to change and manifest whatever we want as quickly as we want. We have been in what has been called the Kali Yuga, a darker age, in which we think we are much more limited and we don't have a full knowledge of who and what we truly are. There are beings out there that have pushed the belief system in our limitations, and the fact that we are limited beings with very, very limited potential. They have done this in order to keep us under control, for we are an energy source and a workforce for them. But we're heading into a new time, a new period, in which we are going to be able to shake their yoke and manifest whatever we want to manifest, which, if it's done out of love and light, will be a magnificent world, a new golden age. It all has to come from the heart center, from compassion and love, things that cause expansion. Compassion and love causes expansion, causes growth, and it will cause the peace to break out in the world that we all truly want. We just have to be able to stand up for ourselves and speak our truth, and just say we don't want these limiting ways anymore. We don't want these limiting wars. We don't need $1 trillion defense budgets when there's people starving and there's disease that's rampant. Getting on to the topic of disease just briefly, again, these are thought patterns that have been sold to us. We could shake anything, because anything and everything is ultimately energy, and energy isn't created or destroyed, it just changes form. So with your conscious intention and focus, and knowing what you're doing, that you are bringing in good healing energy, you could alleviate any sort of illnesses from your body if your belief is strong enough. It just takes knowing that you can. Don't buy limiting beliefs. Don't accept them. This is part of where we are going now as a people, as a humanity, as a global consciousness. Well, I just wanted to share with you some of those thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you'll go out and write down what you want out of life and put it into a mantra or an affirmation and say it daily. Namaste, everybody, in love and light. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Evolutionary Energy Arts, and like this video if you like what you have heard. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And if you're interested in any of other topics, please look at my YouTube channel or look at my webpage of the same name, Evolutionary Energy Arts. Thank you. God bless and take care.